Every divorce gets a Netflix documentary. Every celebrity breakup trends on Twitter. Every toxic relationship gets 10 million views. But there's what nobody talks about. If 40% of marriages fail in America, what about the 60% that are working? Where are those stories? Why aren't we studying what makes them last? Because misery gets clicks and success is boring until you actually want to build something that lasts. You've been sold 2 lies. The fairy tale that marriage is effortless bliss, and the cynical take that all marriages are doomed. Both are garbage. Real successful marriages exist. Millions of them. They're just not on Instagram or in divorce court, so you don't see them. Today we're breaking down what actually makes marriages work, and it's not what you think. First reality about successful marriages. There's no constant toxic drama, explosive fights, or violent makeup sessions. There's no roller coaster of emotions that makes for good television. Just 2 people who genuinely like each other handling life together. Successful marriages don't look like movies, because movies need conflict. Real life needs consistency. When researchers study long-term happy couples, they find people who describe their relationship as comfortable, stable, and peaceful. Not words that get your heart racing, but words that let you actually sleep at night. The excitement in successful marriages comes from shared experiences and growth, not from relationship chaos. They get excited about trips they're planning, goals they're achieving, and life they're building, not about whether they'll survive the next fight. Second reality, successful couples fight, but they fight completely differently. They're not avoiding conflict. They're having it without destroying each other. Research shows happy couples argue about the same frequency as unhappy ones. The difference is how they argue. They don't bring up past issues during current arguments. They don't attack character, they address behavior. They don't yell, name call, or threaten. They state their position, listen to their partner's position, and work toward compromise even when they're angry. Most importantly, they repair quickly. They don't let resentment build for days. They don't weaponize silent treatment. They cool down, come back to the conversation, and resolve it before bed. Not because they're superhuman, but because they've practiced conflict resolution enough that it's a skill, not a battle. Third reality, they maintain separate identities while building shared life. Successful couples don't become one person. They remain 2 complete individuals who choose to share their lives. They have their own friends, hobbies, and interests outside the marriage. This isn't distance, it's health. When you have your own identity, you bring something to the relationship instead of just taking from it. You're not dependent on your spouse for entertainment, emotional regulation, and life purpose. You're interdependent, which is completely different. They support each other's individual growth instead of requiring their partner stay the same forever. She can pursue career changes. He can develop new interests. They can evolve as individuals while choosing to evolve together. Fourth reality, they're realistic about what marriage provides and doesn't provide. Successful couples don't expect their spouse to be their therapist, best friend, financial savior, constant entertainment, and sole emotional support. They understand one person cannot fulfill every need. They have friendships outside the marriage for different types of connection. They might have a therapist for processing deep issues. They have hobbies that fulfill different parts of themselves. The marriage is central, but not totalizing. This removes impossible pressure from the relationship. Your spouse isn't failing you by not meeting every single need. They're being one important part of a full, complete life. Fifth reality, they prioritize their relationship intentionally and consistently. Successful marriages don't maintain themselves through love alone. The couples actively work on maintaining connection through regular date nights, physical intimacy, quality conversation, and shared experiences. They schedule sex when spontaneity disappears. They plan date nights when life gets busy. They have daily check-ins about how each other is feeling. These things sound unromantic until you realize that intention is more romantic than hoping things magically stay good. Research shows couples who maintain weekly date nights and regular intimacy report significantly higher satisfaction than couples who wait to feel like it. Because waiting to feel like it means waiting until the relationship is already struggling. Sixth reality, they view marriage as a team sport, not a competition. In successful marriages, it's not about keeping score or winning arguments. It's about both people winning through partnership. If one person is struggling, both people are struggling. If one person succeeds, both people benefit. They make financial decisions together as partners managing shared resources. They handle parenting as co-leaders with aligned strategies. They approach problems as teammates solving challenges, not opponents fighting for their position to win. This mindset shift changes everything. You're not competing for who does more housework or who's more tired. You're collaborating on building a life that works for both of you. Seventh reality, they accept influence from each other. Research by John Gottman shows that marriages succeed when both partners, especially husbands, accept influence from their spouse. This means being willing to be changed by your partner's perspective, preferences, and needs. It's not about losing yourself. It's about being open to your partner's input affecting your decisions. She suggests a different approach to something, and you actually consider it instead of dismissing it. He expresses a preference, and you accommodate it when reasonable. Successful couples demonstrate flexibility in decision and genuine consideration of each other's viewpoints. They don't rigidly stick to their position just to prove they're independent. They adapt to create solutions that work for both. Eighth reality, they practice gratitude and appreciation consistently. Happy couples don't just love each other. They actively appreciate each other regularly. They notice what their partner does and acknowledge it. They express gratitude for ordinary contributions, not just extraordinary gestures. Research shows the ratio of positive to negative interactions in successful marriages is 5.1. For every criticism or complaint, there are 5 appreciations, compliments, or kind gestures. This isn't fake positivity. It's actively noticing and acknowledging what your partner brings. Most people notice what's wrong constantly and what's right occasionally. Successful couples flip this. They notice what's right constantly and what's wrong occasionally. This creates an environment where both people feel valued instead of criticized. Ninth reality. They have shared values and aligned life goals. Successful couples aren't just in love. They're going in the same direction. They agree on major life decisions about children, money, career priorities, where to live, and how to spend time. These aren't small details. These are the foundation of whether daily life together works or creates constant conflict. You can love someone deeply and be fundamentally incompatible in life direction. Successful couples figured out compatibility before committing. They don't agree on everything, but they agree on the big things that determine what their shared life actually looks like. And they revisit these conversations regularly as life changes, because alignment isn't time achievement. It's ongoing practice. 10th reality, they're committed to the relationship, not just the feeling. Successful marriages survive because both people are committed to making it work, even during periods when they don't particularly like each other. They've made a choice that transcends temporary emotions. This doesn't mean tolerating abuse or staying in misery forever. It means choosing to work through normal relationship challenges instead of abandoning ship when things get hard. It means showing up even when you don't feel like it, because you've committed to something bigger than feelings. They understand love is both feeling and action. The feeling fluctuates. The action remains consistent. During periods when feeling is low, the action carries them through until feeling returns. Here's what connects all 10 realities. Successful marriages are built on consistent, intentional actions over time, not on constant emotional highs or perfect compatibility. They're built by two people who are realistic about what marriage requires and willing to do that work. The 60% of marriages that work aren't magical. They're not perfect people who never struggle. They're ordinary people who approach marriage as serious partnership requiring skill, effort, and intentional maintenance. They're boring on social media because health looks boring compared to chaos. They're not trending because stability doesn't make good content. But they're building something that actually lasts, while dramatic relationships crash spectacularly. If you want a successful marriage, stop looking for fairy tale perfection or expecting effortless bliss. Start looking for someone with compatible values who's willing to do the work alongside you, then do the work consistently, intentionally, even when you don't feel like it. This isn't romantic advice. This is practical wisdom from millions of marriages that actually work. The question is whether you want something that looks good on Instagram or something that actually lasts through decades of real life. Subscribe for more reality-based relationship content that studies what works instead of what trends. Tell me in the comments if you've witnessed a successful marriage and what made it work. We need more stories about what success actually looks like.